good. Very good. Very good.
All
Very
right,
good.
you start us off.
Okay. Welcome, one and all, to David and Aaron Save the World. Episode
10.
10.
We're on 10.
We made it to 10. That's amazing, actually.
Yeah, it's been a long time, everyone. And
When did we start this?
back in June. Like,
My goodness. It's been like 6-7 months. 8 months almost.
indeed, it has. But that's also not accounting for like the 3-month break we basically took.
That's
from
true.
Save the World.
That's true.
Should we give an explanation why we've been
Gone
so long to our adoring fans?
Yeah, yes, and yes. I'll let you do the explaining because I'm gonna let you do it. You're better at explaining things.
Oh, I was just gonna
I think
say
that's true.
because you're incoherent at this point and
I
still in a mist. Just kidding.
You better believe it, buddy. I can't see 5 feet in front of me.
All right. So the reason why Aaron and I have not been able to record was, as we stated last time, Aaron did get engaged, and also within this time frame, he has been married to his beautiful girlfriend, and then we had Christmas to add on top of everything, right?
Yep.
And so we are finally past the holidays, past weddings, and all the good things. And we are now back to routine, structure, schedule, the things I love that allow us to record this podcast.
Yes, and yes. This is all true. It was like the hammer of my wedding came and smashed down, and then the hammer of the holidays came and smashed down right after it. So it was like I got married, and then I got back from my honeymoon, and then it was like, oh, and by the way, Christmas is here. Pow! And then I was like, ouch, that's ouch.
Just to add on top of everything. So
right. So the podcast did take a backseat for a little while, but don't you worry, everybody.
We're back in business.
It's back. Yep, we're back in business. It's back in the front seat, kind of.
It is not thrown into the shadows at this point. It is slowly creeping back out.
Like a critter you have scared. Slowly, curiously creeping forward.
Oh, man. There's another exciting development with today's episode, in addition to being back. This is also the first episode that we are recording remotely. Because
I thought the exciting development was that we were recording and I was in my pajamas still.
would you be embarrassed if I told you I'm already in khakis for the day?
No, I wouldn't be embarrassed. I knew as soon as those words came out of my mouth, I was like, I know David is fully dressed and ready for his day.
Yeah, so one of us is in pajamas, the other one's in a polo and khakis. So another exciting development of the podcast.
Indeed.
That will probably continue forward from this point on.
Indeed. Sorry. What David was saying is that we were recording it remotely because I moved like 40 minutes north of David. So we no longer live like spitting distance, and so it's kind of it causes a couple of
travel issues,
logistical issues. Yeah. It costs money to travel, and it takes
the more thing is it takes more time out of the day, which is hard. But
yeah.
Because believe it or not, people, we don't just record podcasts all day. We do try and live like civil lives and accomplish things. So, as much as we love doing this, we do have some time constraints.
In case it wasn't obvious by how good of podcasters we are, we definitely don't do this all day, every day. Even though it's what we probably want to be doing all day, every day. So,
True.
Sorry, people. Sorry to shatter your visions of two podcasting heroes. We're only podcasting heroes on one podcast, not 7.
And once every other week or so. But
or so, yes. I will heavily emphasize that, or so.
Especially after we just took a 3-month break.
Oh my goodness, seriously.
Yeah, and so, yeah, as Aaron said, he moved north, which was very sad to me that we can't hang out as often. But alas, this must be the case. But the other exciting thing is that he now is, living in his own apartment with his girlfriend, or his now wife. Sorry, I should say.
Wife, yes, my wife.
And I wish you guys could see the sad and depressed state Aaron was in when he first moved into that apartment before his now wife was with him. It was just him alone.
This is true.
It was a dungeon of sadness, as he described it. Like having the apartment but not living with his wife yet. Like you were very blue, I will say, when we first came in.
I only remember being like shockingly sad the first day I moved into the apartment. Like the first day I had the apartment. My other siblings have described similar experiences of when they moved out of the house and they got their first apartment, of just like it's just kind of sad. It's just kind of sad. And so it is. I'm that's interesting. I didn't know I was more sad when I was not living with my cute wife.
It also didn't help that there were no lights in most of the rooms. It was designed to have all lamps, and there weren't any lamps, so they were just like dark rooms that you like just could walk into with no furniture. And
seriously, that is an accurate description. The bedroom and the sewing room, and they just kind of stayed empty. And so it was like, here's my room, and it's like clothes are in piles on the floor because like I didn't have a dresser or a place to put anything. And then the sewing room was just full of nothing and emptiness, and you're just like, that's pretty sad. It's kind of echoey in here. And then the front room had the couch that I slept on and the couch that I looked at. And
that was pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. And then like my stuff scattered randomly about. The kitchen had like a freezer full of like freezer food, burritos, hamburgers, all in the freezer, ready for when I was going to undoubtedly take them out of the freezer, pop them in the microwave, and microwave them.
So you like had a married apartment, but you were living a bachelor life, basically.
Yeah.
In a sad, dark apartment.
That couldn't be more accurate. Could not be more accurate.
But it is a dungeon of sadness no longer, right? Because,
indeed,
first of all, the missus moved in, which definitely helps.
Yes.
And we also did a shady way of trying to get lights into your rooms.
Are you kidding me? You mean professional, quality, grade, may as well have had duct tape on it job of getting a light into one room thus far.
Still working on it.
Still a work in progress. Yeah, we got some lights from Amazon and some like LED lamps, and I've learned, coming to my first apartment, this can be our problem well solved for the day. I didn't have one planned, but one has sprung upon me. This is wonderful. A problem has been solved since I've been here, since I've moved here. When you're renting an apartment, you want to cause as little damage to the apartment as possible.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, you still want to hang stuff on the walls. And in our case, you still want to hang stuff on the ceiling. Like a light, because they didn't install any lights when they remodeled the apartment 40 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And so, today's problem well solved is command strips. They are absolutely magical. Somebody was like, slap some adhesive on a foam, and then you just pull the foam out, and the adhesive stays on the foam, and everything is happy, and it doesn't pull paint off the wall. And we're just going to slap these everywhere. And so I have spent probably $50 in command strips to hang all the things on my walls and to hang lights off the ceiling. It works amazingly, people. I have one hanging in my house.
And to give people a visual of what this kind of looks like, again, I agree. Command strips are the bomb diggity for sure.
The bomb, indeed.
And so me and Aaron were contemplating on how to get lights up in his apartment, and we eventually came to the conclusion that we needed command strips. But then the second problem was trying to actually get power to the light.
Right.
Because we can't drill into, or we can't like go into the sheetrock or anything.
Yeah, we can't get the access to the wires that are assuredly hanging just above the whatever is on the ceiling, probably like plastic on the ceiling.
Right.
Like I swear there's lights and light switches.
Yeah.
But there's no light.
Yeah.
So there has to be power right there, but we can't drill a hole because that destroys the purpose.
Right. So we can't go into the sheetrock, but there are light switches. So our first idea was to take these LED lights, command strip them to the ceiling, and then run some just, 14 gauge wire down to a light switch. Upon the realization that the light switches actually are so old, and the apartment's probably so old that it doesn't have enough voltage to power the LED lamps. So we had to revert to our second option, going directly to a power outlet, and then using the remotes that came with the LED lamps to act as light switches. So if I'm understanding correctly, I haven't seen it since you did the finishing touches in that one room. But do you have a remote command stripped to the wall next to the light switch?
I'll have to send you a picture. That is exactly what I did. Happily, the light switch controls the outlet, so I can switch the light switch and it still turns on the light, but then the lights have some fun functionality, like they go dark and bright and color change, and so
oh, nice.
I put the remote on the wall so that we could still have all that functionality.
Gotcha. So the light switch did power the outlets then?
It does power that outlet. I don't know if we're going to have success powering all the outlets. Maybe I should try flipping that light switch and trying that outlet in the front room again. Because my sister went through and tested all the power outlets, and she's like, yeah, they're all good. And then like day 2, or not day 2, but like the day I got my internet router, like I was trying to plug it in and it wasn't getting power in one of the outlets, and I was like, text my sister, what there's no power in this outlet, like what are you talking about? Turns out it was probably just that the light switch wasn't turned on.
Or maybe your apartment's just so old that this isn't really a feature, it's more of like a problem that they haven't addressed in the wiring, that like the light switch just gives the extra boost to the outlets that you need to like run everything.
I love that. It's not a feature. It's a problem. But I'm going to interpret it as a feature because that makes me a lot happier to think about it as like, oh, they gave me this feature rather than like, oh, these guys are just a bunch of... I have found problem after problem. Did you know that apartments use clear silicone for everything? Like, oh, there's a problem with the baseboard? Put some clear silicone on it.
Really?
Oh, there's a problem with the gasket around the bathtub, the spout. Oh, let's put some clear silicone on it. They just put clear silicone everywhere on everything. Oh, there's water damage on the baseboard? Cover it up with some clear silicone. It's okay. No one will know. And I look at it and I go, I know, guys. I know exactly what happened.
Well, and in your apartment, too, it looks like they paint over everything, too, if there's any problems. Like over dust and stuff. And
yeah. The other day, just yesterday, my wife got out of the shower and was like, so they painted over some hair on the wall. And I was like, I wasn't even surprised, but like, really, guys, really, you just there was just some hair on the wall, and you just were like, well, no one will see. Whoop, and paint over it. Like, come on now.
Oh man,
are you kidding me?
Like, that's pretty bad.
It's horrible. I don't know what they were thinking.
Oh goodness.
So,
It means it's going to be an adventurous apartment, right, man? That's what
yeah,
it should be interpreted as.
It's the other day I was leaning against the sink, and the part of the countertop that goes around the front of the sink went, and I looked at it, and it had like the glue that was holding the sink and the countertop together like popped a little bit. And I was like, oh my goodness, are you kidding me?
Oh man,
adventurous times indeed at this new Aaron household.
And so when life gives you crappy apartments, solve that problem with command strips, I think is the
command strip everything.
That's
command strip
that's
pictures
the problem
over
well solved.
everything. Yes, indeed. I love command strips. I have just been delighted. We have pictures hanging up on our walls, and a sign, and actually 2 signs, and like a whiteboard, and nothing to cover the hideous mirror yet, because seriously, one wall of the apartment, there's like the kitchenette, and then there's like the dining area, whatever that means. Like, you can't fit a regular dining table in there, but whatever. In the dining area, on one of the walls, there's this huge mirror, like huge mirror, like 6 foot by 8 foot mirror on the wall, and I just can't fathom why they did that.
Yeah, right in the kitchen area. It's like,
right.
Is that where you need to get ready for the day? Like, yeah.
I do not want to be looking at myself as I eat my food. Like, I do not want that. I don't want to see myself eating food.
Maybe they were going for the illusion that they do at restaurants sometimes, where they do that to make the restaurant look like it's bigger than it actually is. Maybe they were thinking that also works inside apartments. But
I mean, it probably does. It makes the wall interesting. I'll give it that. Even if every time I look at it, I think, well, that's dumb, and I think a little bit more inside. Like, maybe that's better than a blank wall with nothing on it, to just clutter up my blank walls, my apartment.
Maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. So, command strips,
exciting times.
Heroes of the day. I would recommend 10 out of 10. Get some command strips.
Should we do some other follow-up?
Yes. Yep.
All right. So, man, this feels like so long ago now. But
I mean, it was only, a quarter of a year ago.
It was only, thousands and thousands of hours ago. But
millions and millions of minutes.
Seconds ago. Anyways, this goes back to a favorite topic, at least of you and me. We'll see how much the listeners like this, but big turks.
Yeah.
Big turks.
Yes.
We're going back.
Okay, big turks.
Big turks.
I love
the big turks.
Big turks. Okay.
So, you gave me a good portion of big turks.
Yes.
At some time a couple months ago.
Yes.
And
yes.
A lot of my family listens to the podcast. A lot of them have never had a big turk. And so when I brought home those big turks, a lot of my family wanted to partake of big turk, since it's such a big part of the podcast, right?
Right.
It's such a flowing topic.
I would say that our podcast is built upon a foundation of big turks. So
it's true. In a lot of ways, it is. Anyways, so my brother-in-law in particular was really excited to have big turks.
Okay.
And I must report, he was not impressed. I don't know why.
What? But what?
I know, I don't understand. I'm trying to understand what type of mindset you have to be in to even have the thought that a big turk isn't amazing. What has to be wrong inside your body and your emotions to convince you that a big turk is not glorious,
I don't know. I can't even understand how anyone couldn't like a big turk. They're fabulous. They're wonderful. They're amazing. And they brighten your day, and like you take a bite of one and like your troubles melt away, and then you quickly consume 3 more bars because you might have a Big Turk addiction. That's okay. We can work through that. But they're wonderful. They're delightful, and I'm sad to hear that your brother-in-law did not like them.
I know it was a sad day. I had to contemplate. I just sat on my bed for a couple hours and thought about the universe and all the things that must have come to pass to make this the case. It's a sad world we live in. But
Indeed.
Some people have their weaknesses they have to work through. But
well, I'm sad to report that my sister also has this weakness.
Really?
Yeah. If I fed her one and she went, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I guess you don't like them then. Apparently she just doesn't like anything with any of my wonderful jelly-filled things. She does not appreciate them. And so, gosh by golly, she's not getting any more from me. I'll tell you what.
I mean, there's already a short supply anyways.
Seriously, I have to get those shipped from Canada. Okay? That's you wouldn't believe how expensive that is. You know how many bags of M&Ms I had to buy to get my shipment of Big Turks? You wouldn't believe. Okay?
Do you think there's any like Big Turk correctional facilities that people can go to if they have this problem, like
probably. I mean, if not, we should start one. I see a lot of money in this. I see a lot of happiness in this. What? I don't even know how to correct this problem though. Like, it's such an inborn, like, it's so deep inside of them. Like, how could you not like a Big Turk? Like, it has to go deeper than the depths of like your subconscious or something like
somewhere
that.
in the human soul is like an issue that we have to address.
And I just don't know how to fix that. Like, do we just like shovel Big Turks into them? Like, will that help? Or do we make them eat only Big Turks? Like starve them out until they're ready for food, and then we feed them a Big Turk, and if they don't like it, then they don't get any more food.
Actually, that's not a bad idea.
That our torture facility.
I've had a similar experience with Little Caesars Pizza, actually.
What? Have I
told you? No? Okay.
No, you haven't told me. This is amazing. What happened?
So, I used to work at a little grocery store by my house that went out of business while I was in high school. But I was still working there, and they put me on the team that was going through and was, removing all the shelves and stuff to get it ready for another business, and we were sending food over to the other grocery store that the same company still owned and all this stuff. So I was on that crew for like 6 months. But it was also when I switched from high school into my first semester of college. And so everyone there was in college. Like, they were slowly whittling down the team members because they needed a lot of people at the start, and then they slowly got the group down to like 3 people. And I was on one of those. I was one of those people they kept. And we did stuff together for like 3 months. And it was also my first semester of college. So I was going to class from like 10 o'clock in the morning to like 4 or like 3.
Okay.
And then I started working. I started working at 4 and went till 9.
Okay.
So it was a pretty long day. I'd go to campus early in the morning, or relatively early in the morning. I'd eat lunch around noon, But then I wouldn't eat after that because I was going to class or I was at work. And so I was always...
There's no time in between.
Yeah, so I was always like starving, by the end of work because it was just, a lot of time. But my supervisor was just awesome. He'd always try and bring us like little treats and stuff, and he'd bring popcorn all the time. And one of the things he'd do occasionally was bring us Little Caesars. And before that, like, my dad had always told me never to eat Little Caesars. Like, it tastes like cardboard and all these things. So, like, my childhood had been, like, brought up to, like, not like Little Caesars.
Oh,
but,
no, that's sad.
but, like, it's 7 o'clock at night. You haven't eaten for 7 or 8 hours, and there's a Little Caesars pizza right there, and you've just been through a long day. Like, I just scarfed those things down, man. I'd have like 5 to 6 pieces, and it was so glorious.
Oh man, that's enough. That's pushing like stomachache territory right there. That's plenty. Wow.
I had a better metabolism back then too, so.
Yes. When we were younger men, indeed.
Yes. Back in the days of youth, the follies of youth.
Yes. Yes. When you could eat a whole Little Caesars pizza in one sitting. I still remember those days.
But that's how I learned to love Little Caesars. So I could see a similar thing working for Big Turks, right? Like, maybe they don't realize how much they need it until they're deprived of their other options, and then they slowly come back to the fold, and
It's perfect. I think no expense is too great for curing the terrible anti-Big Turk epidemic that plagues this nation and these people.
Indeed. It's one of the great dilemmas of our time. Great tragedies. You had follow-up as well?
I do have an item of follow-up. I have to say, listening to the last episode, when we got to the Mr. Bleep part, it was flippin' hilarious. I was dying at work. I couldn't stand up at work. Like, I was listening to it at work, and, like, I was laughing so hard that I, like, almost had to sit down. I was laughing so much. It was hilarious. So, 10 out of 10. I just wanted to give you props for that. That was perfect, because it was so much better that way. Like, what could we be saying? Who knows? Nobody knows except for us.
You internet serial killers that hate podcasters. You're never getting our names.
Not today. Nope, sir.
And it just adds to the humor. So, joke's on you. You're just making the podcast better.
Oh, perfect. I will not give them praise for this decision.
Oh man. Well, good. I'm glad you enjoyed that part.
That was my that's my bit of follow up. I thought that was deadly hilarious. Like, I'm glad I wasn't running like a table saw or a planer when I was listening, because I probably would have died.
Died or destroyed huge amounts of property to the company.
Seriously, yep. It just would have been terrible.
Does that mean that the podcast is like a potential work hazard?
I'm gonna say definitely not, because if I say maybe, then I maybe have to stop listening at work. So definitely not. It's totally work friendly. Just be aware that whatever you're doing is definitely more important than listening to the podcast. If you're driving, focus on driving. If you're working, focus on working. Please do not cause problems.
Do not listen to Save the World while operating heavy machinery.
Right. I mean, how heavy are we talking? Like,
operate heavy machinery at your own risk while listening to Save the World.
Yes.
A risk worth taking, for sure. It should be a work requirement. Like, that's the only way you get through your day. Like, it pulls you into those hard hours. It gets you something to do. So, really, it's the only reason you still have your job. So,
that's true. I don't know if I could stand my job without podcasts. So, all is well. I agree. Work required podcast. And what better podcast than Save the World?
It's one of the things they should start putting on your work application. Like, what podcast are you going to listen to while you're doing this job?
It's perfect. I see no problems with this. You had more follow-up?
Oh, yes. So, also going back to my days of thievery from Walmart.
Your Walmart heist.
My Walmart heist. I got those 2 deodorant bars that I went back and paid for anyways.
That you heisted and then immediately paid for.
I made an observation that
Okay.
I went there the other night thinking, oh, great,
Yeah.
I have to show my receipt to some guy that watched me check out the self-checkout anyways. And I'm just like mentally preparing for this moment where I have to pretend like I'm having a social interaction with some random security guard, and all this good stuff.
Yeah.
But at least it was this night. Maybe it was just because it was close to the holidays and they didn't have a lot of people working or what. But the last time I went past the hour of 10 or whatever it was, they did not have a security guard. Check my receipt.
Hooray! This is a wonderful thing.
So there's 2 options here. Either the CEO of Walmart listens to the podcast, heard our dilemma, realized the folly of his ways, and changed this procedure.
Definitely the most likely thing
this
happen.
is definitely the most probable solution or most probable reason this occurred. But I also wonder if during the holidays they had that policy and then it just got so ridiculous for the security guard that they eventually dropped it, or something else like that happened down the line.
Right, all the antes on midnight present runs.
Yeah.
It just got to be too much for those poor security guards to handle.
I'd hope that maybe that was it, or maybe it's just a policy change. I never know with businesses like that, but
Nah, you'll never know. Well, maybe thievery goes down in the wintertime or after the holidays time. Maybe heists don't happen as often.
I don't see that happening at all. I think that's the opposite of what the trend is. But
after a high, it maybe okay. I think my brain's ready to talk now. I just like, oh no. Do you ever do that? Do you ever just hit this point where you just like your talking just kind of breaks for a second?
Yeah, there's no way to bring it back to any semblance of a coherent sentence. Yeah.
Right.
I do that all the time.
It's like okay. It's like 3 sentences just crash together in your head. And you're just like, ugh.
Remember, I teach high school, so this happens all the time.
Oh no. Is it bad when it happens in front of high school students?
No, you get over it and you just start over. But
oh, okay.
Imagine what you're doing, but also while you're trying to explain physics. That's what I do every day.
Oh my goodness. That sounds really hard. Unless you use like not the hard words to describe physics. Like instead of all the complicated physics terms, you just use like. Yeah. No. Yeah, that sounds like a disaster. I don't know how you do that. That's amazing, David. You once again have amazed me.
It's just because I brag about myself too much, so.
Indeed. Most indeedly.
Anyways, you had a comment on Walmart.
I don't know. It has passed into the ether of my mind.
Is that what's in there? Is ether? Good to know.
Just a whole lot of nothing. and a lot of time whenever it passes out of the front, it goes to the back, and it never comes back from the back unless it gets really lucky. Kind of like Matthew McConaughey in Interstellar. You have to get real lucky, or else you're just never coming back from that place.
That was a really weird analogy you just made, but I like it. I'm getting a visual for what the inside of your mind looks like.
Good. I would use that video as reference for what it looks like in there. That's probably how I'd describe it in pictures.
Got it. That's deep. That's very deep. And so, that relates to the deep topic we were just talking about of security guards are no longer at Walmart at night. So
heisting Walmarts, yeah. So we can... Oh wait, no, I'm not heisting Walmarts. My bad. Sorry, everybody.
We don't actually heist Walmarts, okay?
No. Well, I don't. David does, but I don't.
Don't blow the secret, man.
I would only heist a Walmart if they had Big Turks, but they don't sell Big Turks, so like whatever.
What's worth stealing in
care.
there?
Seriously, there's nothing worth my time in there.
So listeners, I just forgot one of the follow-up items, but you probably just heard the transition sound. And I think this is a good time to bring up the fact that a lot of people don't actually know what the transition sound is. And you didn't even know when I first put it into the audio, that transition blip that we do. And so maybe we should notify the listeners that it's actually popping bubble gum.
Oh yeah, you told me that, and I was so happy when you told me that. It makes me so happy because you know why? Because bubblegum's the greatest. Oh, dude, on bubblegum follow-up, I got bubblegum for Christmas.
Nice.
And I got some of that Hubba Bubba bubble tape, the one that's like
I remember
like
that
a roll of seriously, every time I get one of those, I kind of just want to shove the whole thing in my mouth and chew all of it all at once because it's like already all together in a tape, but I didn't with this one at least. And that has to be probably one of the best textured bubble gums I've ever had. Like the texture is so smooth and so silky. It's just and the taste is just delightful. It lasts a long time. It's probably one of the better bubble gums I've ever had in my entire life. So for all those listeners who want a good bubble gum but don't like the hard Hubba Bubba that runs out of juice too fast, or like the bubble mint, or it's just not quite bubble gummy enough, like Hubba Bubba bubble tape. That's the one that you should try.
Have you ever had zebra stripe gum?
Oh man, that stuff. Oh,
it's like the opposite.
That stuff. Yeah,
it holds its flavor for about 3 seconds. But
I get through 3 or 4 chews, and I'm like, "Oh, this is really good." Oh,
it's like my childhood, but and I still love it just for nostalgic purposes. But every time I chew it, I'm like, "Yeah, this bubble gum really just had no flavor to it on the inside. It's just powdered in sugar." But it's still great.
That's true. I love it. That bubblegum just has no flavor on the inside. Its soul is empty. It puts on a facade, but it's empty inside. That stuff is delicious. I think I actually have a pack floating around in my house somewhere of that stuff.
I do too, sadly.
Really?
Yeah.
What? Are you serious?
Yeah. I got some for my birthday.
That makes me so happy. Wait. When was your birthday?
December 18th.
Did I? Happy belated birthday, Fetch! How did I miss this?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I didn't really notify you. It was during the holidays. That's the problem with December birthdays. They just kind of get swept by the wayside.
Right.
So there's so many other family things going on that I just forgot to mention it to you or bring it up. But that's your brother's birthday as well, right?
Indeed, it is. And that's why I'm kind of upset that I didn't remember. Because I already have a landmarker on that day, so it should be easy to clump the landmarkers. But, okay, so here's a problem. This is a real problem, okay? Is there a polite way to remind people when your birthday is? Is there a way to be oh, and it's my birthday?
Oh, man. Man, you have just opened a can of worms here. We might be talking about this for an hour or so.
Oh, man.
There's a deep, dark past that just came out of my soul. All December birthday people will know what this feels like. The horror.
The monster of Christmas that's taking over your birthdays and you don't know what to do about it. This is so sad. I wish there was some way that my friends could be hey, it's my birthday, without being feeling like they're a jerk or something, you know?
Right. Well,
it's just
the related side problem is Facebook birthdays. I find that really strange. I don't think that's the solution to the problem to notify people it's your birthday. Because if you let people know, first of all, I hide my birthday on Facebook, which is also probably why you didn't know.
Oh, well, I mean, I wouldn't have known either way. I haven't been on Facebook in freaking 2 months.
Fair enough. But I do that personally because I hate just getting notifications all day that like so and so said happy birthday. It's like I don't need 100 like lines of text that say happy birthday from like random friends in high school and stuff. Like it's like very disingenuous. Like so
Right.
I don't
Because they're like, they hop on their Facebook and then they see that it's your birthday and they're like, oh, I should wish them a happy birthday. So they get on and wish you a happy birthday. But they didn't know it was your birthday.
So, like most of the people that need to know, like will know, and I'll see them doing other things later, anyways. But then there's also unfortunate events, like just an example of between you and me, where you were not notified of my birthday.
Right.
You're like one of the people that I would have liked to talk to for fun, But
yes.
so this is a problem.
Man, this is a problem. This makes me so sad. Like, is there any way to like? Could Facebook like remind me like a week before? Like, would that be helpful? Man, I'm putting in my calendar. Wait, just a second. I have to put this in my calendar.
Okay.
For the next 80 years. So I don't forget that like your birthday is on December 18th. I'm gonna put a reminder a week before. Yes, that's what I'll do. This is how we do it. This is how you remember things.
I was gonna say, that's exactly how I know your birthday's next week. I have a calendar repeat.
It's next week? Oh my goodness.
Sorry. Did I notify you of this? I apologize.
See, also helpful is people can remind me when my birthday is, so I don't forget. Excuse my interruption of adding things to my calendar. I don't know. Like it's probably really sad because some people probably are like they get to their birthday and they're like, oh, nobody remembered it was my birthday, and they feel sad. But how is anyone supposed to remember? Like, there's a million things to remember in this modern world. Like, how are they supposed to remember it was your birthday? Like, is there some way that we can, as a society, shift our thoughts about birthdays so that we can all remember everyone's birthday?
I'm sitting here trying to think of. Well, there's two ways you could take this, as always, right? Okay, there's the text solution, which is what I usually jump to first. And then there's like the changing people's behaviors solution, which is the harder way to address things, right?
Right.
I mean, tech-wise, again, I'm not a fan of Facebook. I feel like what you were saying is a little bit better. All the email systems know your birthday. Everything you sign up for knows your birthday. So
that's true.
Almost if like it could secretly send like notifications to you, like a few days before.
Yeah.
Because the thing that's awkward about like the Facebook birthday, they see this notification in the top right that it's David's birthday, and so they just go into robot mode and just send that wish, send that notification. So
when they probably actually do have like heartfelt feelings, they're like, oh, I can't believe I forgot. Here, let me wish him a very happy birthday. And then you get it, and you're just like, oh, all these robots following the system. Ugh.
It's just the machine. This machine of society.
See, but that's the problem, is because it doesn't feel genuine. Even if it is genuine, it doesn't feel genuine.
Right.
That's the problem.
So,
is there any way for me to set up like a sneaky beak way for like my email to just email everybody once it's time for my birthday soon?
Well, so here's the problem that I don't think the reason why a tech solution is immediately apparent is because any knowledge that a person has that another person has been notified of the birthday immediately makes that person skeptical about the intent of the person that wishes the happy birthday or whatever it may be. If you know that notification's going out, then the responses you get back seem less genuine.
See, yeah, because it's just, you're just telling people it's your birthday, and then they just go, happy birthday, because that's what you do on birthdays.
Right. I mean, it'd be a little bit better if that notification went out like a week early, and then you see who actually still remembers in a week. Ooh, that might be a little bit of a solution there, but
then it's like a filtering, like who remembered and who didn't.
Right. So you're immediately like ranking people based on like, who
texted me at 12:01 in the morning, and who who waited till the end of the day and who didn't remember.
It's like those Reddit pages and comment pages and stuff. First, I was here first.
First
Comment.
And everyone gives them a thumbs up. They're like, "Good job, you did it." Like, oh no.
So suddenly you're like, your birthday becomes like a weird competition for other people that still care about you, but yeah, that could develop its own weird culture with it.
Who cares the most? I care the most.
Be much more entertaining, to say the least, though.
This is true. That is a plus for that solution, is that it'd be fun.
Yeah. I don't know. I still feel like anything like that is tricky. I think the best solution is actually what you just did. People should get in the habit of making their own calendars for people's birthdays. Like, I have a family calendar of birthdays and a friend calendar of birthdays that repeat every year, so that I'm aware when it's people's birthdays. I think that's like the behavioral thing people should do, which would probably be the better solution, you know?
Oh, definitely. I think that's the correct solution. For now, at least, like, for our current day and age.
Before we're all in the pods and we just talk through speaker boxes.
Right. Once that day comes, then it won't matter how ingenuous it seems, because, like,
everything
the
will
day
be...
of, like, you'll have your own little birthday party in your pod. Like, it'll be great. Like, the pod will give you cake and send you a bunch of messages from your friends that it has written for them because they didn't remember.
Right.
But it's been learning, you know, how your friends talk, so that it can just write a very genuine, sincere message.
Oh man, that's an interesting solution.
Ooh, that is an interesting
solution. Learn your friends' response styles, and then they don't even have to remember your birthday.
Somebody's like, "Oh, it was your birthday?" And you're like, "Yeah, don't worry, I got a card from you. It was perfect, thank you. I felt really good."
The robot generated your sincere response. I appreciate that.
I think it's perfect. I think this is the real solution. I don't know what we're talking about, like changing people's behavior and stuff. Yeah. Whatever. We have self-learning machines. The machines can write our cards.
Yes,
and
indeed.
The machines can be our friends. Because the machines don't forget anything.
Yeah, and then like you never even have to realize you're not ever communicating with the outside world. The machines just learn everybody's personalities, and then they just talk to everyone for you, and you get talked to by them, by everyone else. Yeah.
Yes. Every time that the machines sense that you need some companionship, like they won't bring your friend over. They'll just talk like your friend to you.
Even if your friend's busy doing something, that's great.
This is both the perfect solution and horrifying.
And the end of humanity, as we know it.
But hey, it works. I mean, I don't see any problems with the working part of it.
The technical sides are great. This is gonna work great.
Oh yeah. We're to the point. We have the technology. I don't see why we need wait any longer.
Right. I'll do that for my thesis. Switch projects.
Oh dear. I just and then like this little the egg of truth opens up in my mind, like cracks open in my mind, and all of a sudden like the reasons why this is a terrible idea start spilling into my head, and I'm like, oh, maybe we shouldn't do that. But hey, no, I think we roll with it. First impression is it's the best idea we've had.
That will destroy society as we know it.
Yes.
I like it. Well, I'm glad we got that solved. Let's move on.
Okay. Moving on. I don't quite know how we got there. Oh! I had candy follow up. I don't know what to do, David. I need help.
Okay.
My treat box isn't big enough. I have a treat box in the corner that is spilling out treats. Like there's treats all over and around it, and I can't keep them all in there because there's not enough space, and I can't get another treat box because then I'll fill that one up, and I can't eat them all because then I'll die. I can't. I don't know what to do. I'm trapped and lost and very, very stuck, and I don't know what to do about it.
Man, that is a good problem. I was like trying to think of like, you know, any like major personal problems you could have involving candy.
Yeah.
That was not the first one that came to mind.
This is by far the biggest problem that I've ever had with candy. Let's not talk about my crippling chocolate addiction.
I was hoping you would finally realize how much candy is a part of your life and that like you want to make changes to your life. But no, you just admit that you need to continue to expand your treat box.
I just need help getting rid of some of it. Or I need somebody to tell me to get a bigger treat box. I just don't know what to do. I can't justify it in my head. I can't justify a bigger treat box. It's already a huge box. It's like a legal letter box. It's like it's too big. I can't count how many thousands of calories are in that box, and what would be a fun project is to actually find out exactly how many calories are in that box.
That would be fun, because I would just put it in a calorimeter and burn it. But
you have one of those?
No, I don't have access to one. But
oh man, go and get my hopes up. That would be a great thing to do with it.
That would deplete your supply for a short time, but
yeah. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's an ongoing problem. See, this is the treat box solution. This is a solution I've come up in my own life. Of if you leave your treats lying around, guess what you'll eat? You'll eat the treats. You won't eat your food. You'll eat the treats. It's a problem, and you'll eat them all really fast. Like if I just take a box of orange sticks and just leave it by my computer, guess what happens? I eat an entire box of orange sticks in a 20-minute period because those things are amazing. So the solution is to hide your treats from yourself. So that every time you want treats, you have to go through this lengthy process to get your treats out, right? But it doesn't work when the thing that you have to hide your treats in isn't big enough for all your treats because you don't eat the treats fast enough because you're hiding the treats from yourself so that you don't eat too many treats.
There seems to be, well, first of all, assuming that we can't use that candy machine that we were developing last time.
Oh man, seriously,
we need to get work on that. It seems like there's an issue here of the rate at which you buy treats versus the rate at which you consume them, and the rate at which your body can digest them healthily.
The problem is not my empty bank account, okay? The problem is that it was just the holidays. Although that might factor in just a little bit. I should probably look at my treat spending habits.
Well, I'm just saying the one time I've been to a grocery store with you, you bought 2 treat bags and offered to buy me 2 while we were there.
That is true. That is true. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I will buy you more if you want me to.
I don't think this is the issue we're discussing here.
Sorry. Sorry, my bad.
I was just saying you may want to be more aware of your treat buying habits and see if there's a rate you could decrease here.
I mean, I can continue to decrease the rate that I eat treats. That seems to be a good solution.
Right.
That's great.
You do have more candy stored than needed, though. I can see your dilemma, but
it's true. I'm a monster.
What you should do is have your wife just hide treats randomly throughout the house at random times throughout the day to pace your treat consumption rate,
Right.
You don't have a treat box you can go to. You just you sit on the couch and it's oh hey, between the cushions there's a Hershey's bar, and
there was
you just get to eat it when you find it,
Right. The goal of this is to increase my treat consumption rate. Yes.
Well, to pace it, so that
to pace it properly, so that we can, right. So that the treat box stays at a happy 70% full,
right,
rather than 130%,
right,
that it's currently at.
Because then you'll just binge at some point to try and get it all the way down to a healthy rate, and that's not good either. So
wait. No. I think you're onto something right there. Want to come over to my house and binge candy with me?
This is why I think you have a treat problem, Aaron.
know. I don't have one. Okay, it's not a problem. I got it under control. I have a tree box.
The only thing I was thinking is if we did do the thing where your wife hides all the treats, I could see you just like, instead of going about your regular day, intentionally like going into random rooms in your house and like searching the cupboards and stuff, trying to find all the treats just so you can know where they all are at.
Yeah.
And then binge them all at one point.
I think that's a likely outcome if we were to imply that solution. I think I probably totally would do that. Yeah, that won't work. I just give that a thumbs down. Sorry.
Well, if worst comes to worst, we'll try and pace that candy consumption for you. But
okay.
if your treat box is still overflowing, we can hide it over at my house for some time, just for extra storage space.
Whoa. I think not, good sir. I think not. I will not be parted from my treat box. That is like parting me from my computer or my wife. Like these things are not partable, and I have a treat box and it's mine, and I will not be parted from it.
Aaron, I think you might have a treat problem.
Let me just wipe the tears from my eyes really quick while I accept my fate. And
I think we need to get you professional help at this point. I'll start talking to some people.
I thank you, David. Thank you.
We'll push this very sensitive topic to the side for now, and we'll come back to it.
Okay. Thank you. It hurts too much to discuss anymore right now. I just can't. I can't be bothered to talk about it anymore.
Well, other follow-up. Now going back to the first follow-up that I was trying to talk about.
Okay. Yeah. Let's go. Let's do it.
So, during the dark period of the Save the World recording era, when we were in silence for those 3 months.
For many months. For many moons.
For many moons.
Yes.
I did have another recording project I was doing, actually as a Christmas gift, recording some audio. And I won't go into the details of that gift, but point being, I needed to record again in the studio. And so I went back to that studio that we usually go to, where our listeners have heard us complain a couple of times about them.
The one with Mr. Grumpy Bums. Yeah, that guy. Sorry.
No, it was a correct description, so I didn't bother to intervene.
Correct me. Okay.
Anyways, so I go to that same website to make a reservation, and they have a new area available called a mini booth. And I was like, oh, like that's interesting. So instead of like the studio we were in that can do like instruments and stuff, and it can fit about 3 or 4 people, this one's a one-person booth for recording audio. And I was like, oh, like that's interesting. Like this is the one time like I'm not recording with Aaron, so I'll do the mini booth.
Yeah. How was it?
So I get there, and first of all, it's in their like main commons area, like before you go into the different studios. But it's just like sitting in the corner. So it's like not in a separate room, like it's just sitting there at the side. And it has windows, which is a little weird. So like people can see me recording in the soundproof booth. But I'm like, okay, I got over it. Like, so random people can stare at me. That's cool. Whatever.
That's fine. Whatever.
A little weird. So I'm doing the reservation with the guy, and he's like, giving me the booth, checking me into the booth. And he's like, oh, and by the way, when we got the booth, the company that sent it to us forgot to send the back of the booth.
Wait, what?
Yeah. He's like, yeah, so there's no back to the booth. But we pushed it like kind of close to the wall, so it should still be good. And I'm like, what?
Wait, what? So their soundproof booth
has a big hole in the
back on it?
Yeah. It's not soundproof at all.
So 3 walls are soundproof and 1 back is not.
Yeah. So it's not soundproof. at all.
Not at all. Not even kind of. What?
He's like, they're going to send it to us later, and we'll put it in then. Why are you doing reservations right now for a soundproof room if it's not soundproof?
Exactly.
Oh.
What do you mean the company's gonna send it later? Like, what do you mean later? Like, they forgot part of the order. Like, that should be like first priority is shipping the back to you guys. Like, come on, what's going on here?
So, anyways, I did the recording. I could hear like everything that was going on in the Commons area. It was just, just like ridiculous.
In the recording?
Yeah. Well, sorry. While I was recording, fortunately, I knew how to.
While you were recording,
I knew how to tune the mic well enough that it didn't come through, which was good.
Right. That is okay. That is good. Yeah.
But yeah, it was awful. And point being, I'm never planning on going back to that reservation place ever again. Just too many bad experiences with it.
No lights, Mr. Grumpy Bum. No back. What are we gonna do? We're not gonna go back. That's what we're gonna do. Silly recording situations.
Yeah.
Silly check-in situations. It's nonsense. Bunch of nonsense.
Yeah. It's been crazy. Anyways, I thought you would appreciate that story since you've been there and you can kind of visualize what was going on.
I can. And I can also visualize the great frustration befalls us every time we try to do anything there.
You can see the great rage that was flowing through my body as he said that, probably.
Yes. yes. Perfect. I'm sorry for the sad thing.
Thank you.
But the project came out okay?
Yeah, it worked out. It was good.
Good. This is good. This makes me happy.
I appreciate your condolences. Now that we've done all this follow-up and catching up on the past 3 months, let's actually try and do a topic before we head out.
Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. I think you're on our topic for today. You've got the topic.
I do. And so this is one I've thought about a lot being a physics teacher. Okay. So yeah, I don't know how strong your opinions will be on this, but I will present the dilemma, and you'll see if you have any thoughts on it.
Yes, please do.
So, I love to show this video in my physics class to students about Nikola Tesla. And Nikola Tesla was basically insane. I'm not going to beat around the bush. He was crazy. He talked to pigeons, thought he was married to one at one point. He tried to build...
Wait, what?
Yeah. Yep.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm.
I had Tesla was one of those really smart people that I
No, he was incredibly intelligent. I'm not beating around that bush either. Absolute genius, but absolutely crazy. Yes. He made plans for a death ray. There's a story about him almost taking down a building because he made an earthquake machine that he couldn't stop because the switch got stuck.
It worked.
Yeah,
and it almost took down a building.
That's the story. Sick. I don't know how true that one is. He was obsessed with the number 3. He lived in the New Yorker hotel, and his room had to be divisible by 3. He always had 3 napkins. He couldn't stand women that had pierced earrings and stuff. Anyways, so point is, absolutely nuts. Okay.
Dude's crazy. Okay,
but at the same time, he basically invents the modern electric motor that we use today, and again, just absolute genius. Okay.
Right.
Common trait usually among scientists, to be honest, but
with great genius comes a little bit crazy, or in Tesla's case, a lot of crazy.
But I show him this video because it shows all the things he did. It also shows the story between him and Thomas Edison, because he was about 20 to 30 years younger than Edison, and he comes over. He's born in Croatia, I believe. He was working in Budapest for a telephone company, and he moves to America, and he has this letter of recommendation from one of his employers, I believe, that says, "I know only 2 great men. You, Thomas Edison, are one of them. This young man, Nikola Tesla, is the other." So that's basically his resume that he goes with to America, which is kind of cool. That'd be a cool letter of recommendation.
Yeah. Wait, so at this time was Tesla pretty popular, or was
no? He was just a no-name. Just
he was
this young.
These 2 people, crazy.
Edison was huge, but Tesla was just a nobody.
Okay.
So Edison has his own, company now and everything. Like he's this big business tycoon at this point, and he hires
Yeah.
Nikola Tesla, and he says that if he can get him some patents for some of his inventions, that he would give him a bonus. And so Tesla does this. He makes all these patents, and then after it all, like Edison just doesn't give him the bonus. He just like says, "Sorry, you should
What?
learn about an American sense of humor," and he doesn't pay him.
What?
Yeah.
What? For all the listeners, that is very un-American, I would say.
Indeed.
Ay, way.
Indeed. So they split ways after that.
Yeah.
Tesla ends up working for the company Westinghouse, and he comes up with the AC current system. AC, alternating current system.
Yeah.
And it's the one we use today, and it's way better than DC current. Again, sorry, direct current, because direct current is incredibly inefficient for long distances. And so we transport all of our electricity through alternating current. But But Edison is this huge business powerhouse at this point, and he has all this infrastructure already built for direct current. And Tesla's this no-name Croatian dude that's nuts, that's trying to tell people that we need to switch to alternating current. Fortunately, he had Westinghouse on his side, which also helped a little bit.
That's a large company behind you. That seems helpful.
But it basically starts out this huge war, is what they call it, the current wars, of like Edison and Westinghouse going back and forth, fighting over these currents, because Edison did not want to lose all that infrastructure. That's where the electric chair comes from. Edison set up an electric chair with alternating current to show how dangerous alternating current was. So that he could use it as propaganda.
But wouldn't direct current do the same?
It probably would, but he sold it as, look how dangerous alternating current is. You don't want this in your house because it can electrocute people. That's where the electric chair comes from.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
They would like electrocute elephants in the street.
Oh my
and stuff
goodness.
To just show like how awful AC was.
But Okay. So what happens then? What's the rebuttal?
So fortunately, in the end, Westinghouse gets 2 contracts that basically end up making it so we get AC, the alternating current system that we have today.
Hooray!
They get the bid for the Chicago World's Fair. That was the first fair that was lit entirely by electric lights.
Ooh, wow.
And so they were able to do that by using their own light bulbs that they make, and because Edison wouldn't give him his light bulb, so he was being a jerk again there. He wouldn't share that with them.
Being a silly dummy. Yeah.
So they had to make their own light bulbs, and they light the Chicago World's Fair entirely with alternating current. And then they also built the first hydroelectric dam up in Buffalo area.
Really?
They were able to bring it down to Buffalo City to power that all with alternating current. And so those 2 big things were kind of the turning point to getting alternating current.
Right. They were able to be like, look, see, AC works. It's good.
And the cool thing was Tesla actually, based on their agreement, their contract between Westinghouse and Tesla would have been like paid like millions of dollars based on how much infrastructure was put in. But Westinghouse was going bankrupt from all the like propaganda they had to fight. And so Tesla just like ripped up his royalties contract because he didn't even care. He's like, I don't care about money. Just like, I want this to move on in the future. So.
Really?
Yeah. But he was still insane.
Wow. Well, right. It's totally crazy. That's probably what they were thinking when he tore up the contract. They were like, what, are you serious?
Yeah.
Like, thank you, but like, what?
Yeah.
Wow.
So, it sounds like you've never heard this story.
No, I've never heard any of this. This is amazing. Well, that's exactly my first thought. Is like, well, why haven't I heard this story? This is crazy.
And I bring this up in general because, like, I have a little bit of a personal vendetta about Thomas Edison because I grew up, thinking he's this great hero,
Right, you're like, he invented the light bulb.
Yeah, he's the American scientist. He invented the light bulb. But really, what happened is Edison was working in Morse code, or I should say telegraphs. He was working for a telegraph company. And he made all these inventions for letting the telegraphs be more efficient so they could like send multiple things at the same time and other inventions there. And that made him rich. And so with that money, he built his own lab. And when the light bulb came out, or the idea of the light bulb came out, the only reason he really invented the light bulb is because he had a full lab of people that were testing out different designs to try and make the light bulb.
What? Wait.
It was basically it was basically a business move.
What?
Really.
See, I had this whole image of like him sitting in like a dark room with like by candlelight, taking little bits of electricity, little bits of things, and putting little wires to each of them hundreds and hundreds of times to get his 1 in 100. You know, his famous. You know, I did it. It's a light. Ah!
And then he said the worst quote ever: "I haven't failed 1,000 times. I found 1,000 ways to not make a light bulb," which is my least favorite quote of all time. You wouldn't say that with anything else. Like, I didn't fail a test 1,000 times. I learned 1,000 ways to not pass a test. You know, like, it only kind of makes sense because it's a light bulb. Otherwise, it'd be a terrible quote.
Right. Well, it's still kind of a terrible quote because it's like, oh, great. Well, what are you going to do with those 1,000 ways of how to not make a light bulb?
Right.
You're not going to make any more light bulbs. You silly.
Yeah. Anyways.
Huh. Okay, so Thomas Edison's empire created the light bulb, and now he's credited with being some kind of hero. I feel betrayed. Right now.
Exactly. And so this is why I bring it up. So we don't have to focus entirely on Edison, but like this concept that I've been bothered with a little bit is this idea of like what we teach in schools about certain people that we often like put as heroes. Okay.
Right.
So like let me give you an example. We could do like Revolutionary War, for example. There's a lot of amazing people in the Revolutionary War, right? You can just list them off: Benjamin Franklin, George Washington, all these people. Yeah. And when you're a kid, you have this golden image of them where they're perfect. They never make any mistakes.
They were the heroes.
They're the heroes that saved the world, and they're just awesome, right?
Right.
And usually when you get older, you get into high school and college, you'll hear other stories that show more of their human side. But when all is said and done, I still go, wow, that's an amazing person that I still consider a hero. Even though they had character flaws, even though they had other things that were going on. Like, I still say, wow, I'm so grateful they did that, or, you know, I'm glad they changed the world in this way.
Right.
But there's people like Edison and a couple of others that I've had, you know, growing up that I've heard, where I go, I thought they were a hero when I was young, and then the more stories I hear about them, the more I realize they were just like a big jerk.
Right.
You know?
big dummy jerkhead, yeah.
Yeah, and so, like, I don't mind as much as, like, we can idolize when we're kids because we don't really have the brain capacity yet to, like, really understand all the things that go on with being human and all the societal things and stuff. And that's okay, like, because they'll still be a hero after you have better understanding. But it's the Thomas Edison example. I go, should we still teach Edison this way? Because either you grow up never realizing that he wasn't this amazing person that you thought he was, or you have this sudden moment of betrayal that you just felt, that you thought they were amazing, and now you realize all the terrible things they did.
Right.
So I was just curious your thoughts on, like, because I'm personally like, I don't know if we should teach kids about Thomas Edison the same way we do.
Right. Well, I wish I could remember how I was taught, like what I was actually, like, the actual situations I was in, because, like, I don't remember any of it. Like, it's, I have, like, 2 snippets, 3, 4, 5 snippets of memory from elementary school days, and that's it. That's it. One of my own personal experiences with this, that isn't Thomas Edison right now, where I'm just crushed, that my hero, my boy Edison, he's actually just a monster, but that's okay. That's okay. I'm just hurt a little inside for it. But another thing that this same experience happened was the Revolutionary War. Like, you grow up and it's like America, you know, the colonies are just being oppressed by England, and they're just taxing us outrageous amounts, and, you know, this is outrageous, and then you just like, we're gonna have a revolution, and they have a revolution and they get away, and it's like, yeah, America.
Right.
And you kind of feel this, like, American pride. You're like, yeah, we did it.
That's the story that a 5th grader can understand.
Right. From this oppressive bully of a country. Then I got older, and then I read a book for my American history class, and it just, like, it rocked. It didn't rock my world, but it was just like, I got to a point in the book where it was like, wait a second, is America even the good guy in this story, or is it just a bunch of like, is America a big whiny baby? Like, they sound like a big whiny baby right now. Like, we don't want to get taxed because we're far away from you guys in England. Like, whatever, guys. Like, come on, stop whining. Take the taxes. Like, I had this moment of like, wait a second, is America actually the good guy, or are we the heroes, or are we just like, did this country come out of a complaining and a whiny situation? I was just shocked. I was like, what? My whole world kind of changed a little bit. My thoughts on history changed a little bit.
Right.
And I think with this example of Thomas Edison, like, I think part of the reason it happens this way is because I don't know if kids are smart enough to understand things.
Right.
Like that. Like, I don't, like, we kind of think, oh, these children won't understand, you know, that this dispute, you know, this infighting and this being mean to each other and this bullying. Like, I don't think they'll understand this complicated situation. So we're just going to give them the Thomas Edison created the light bulb, and now we have light bulbs. And as a kid, you're like, Thomas Edison's amazing. He created the light bulb, and he tried so many ways to create a light bulb. Like, I think kids are smart enough that we could probably teach it in a different way, so that there's not so many shocking moments where you think, oh my goodness, my childhood heroes are not actually that heroic, you know?
Right. The other thing I think that propagates this, specifically with Edison, is like when your kid asks, like, you know, where did the light bulb come from? Who made it? People want a simple answer. The nice simple answer is Thomas Edison.
Right.
They don't want, well, kids, actually, there was a research paper that came out about the possibilities of getting light from heating metals. Right. And so this large business corporation that Edison was running was able to manufacture the light bulb through multiple testing trials. Like, that just doesn't roll off the tongue as just the name Edison, you know?
This is true. This is true. Yeah, that's exactly the problem. That's exactly why we have this shattered image of Edison, is because you do want kind of a simple answer. And then like the kid starts tuning out. They start hearing blah 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 blah.
Right.
You know? Womp 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 womp, just like Charlie Brown. The adult starts talking, and you're just like, I don't understand anything you're saying.
And I'm kind of with you. I don't know if I have a good answer right now of how to change it.
Yeah.
Like you were saying with the Revolutionary War, again, just to kind of draw this distinction, I think that the experience that you had is good, where you grow up as a young kid and you have these ideas, and then in high school and college you have to kind of challenge them, you know, like that book would do, and you.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Which is, I think, is good to have that process of realizing that the things you thought as a kid aren't always as simple as you thought they were, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Like in the Revolutionary War, I think that's good. Yeah. Was America totally justified in this? I don't know. Like we could have a whole analysis of that, but in the end, I still go, yeah. But the people in the war, once it started, they were still great men that did great things. That part I feel good about, and so I have a more realistic perspective of what happened, and I think that's good that we challenge that. But like again, this whole idea of like, do we keep Thomas Edison as this hero just for the simplicity? Or do we try and realize the truth that he really isn't this great American hero that we like to put him as, you know?
Well, and I think one of the problems is that a lot of our culture is built off of like what's common knowledge. You'll see, I don't know, like you see like an old-fashioned light bulb, and it has to do with like, they put it in a video relating to invention, and you think, oh, this company is a great inventor, you know, because of Thomas Edison and light bulbs. And I don't know, like they get a lot of social weight in our day and age, even though maybe they don't deserve that respect or that social standing that they have this day because of the things that they did back then that are not communicated perfectly clearly. Because I would never have heard the true Thomas Edison story, maybe in my entire life.
Right. Because
like I don't run in those kind of circles. I don't run in a physics circle. I don't think about, you know, what Nikola Tesla and Thomas Edison were doing back in the day. You know, I never have to think about that because I just have my light bulb, you know, whatever. I just flip the light switch. And so I think there should be a change. I think we should change how it's taught, but I don't know how to change that. Like I don't know a better way to do it. That's the biggest problem. But I think we should because it does rest with much of society in a false light.
And it's so different from the actual story, and like in my opinion, that I feel like
Right.
we're almost lying intentionally to our students, you know?
Right, exactly.
Maybe this is a good point to stop because I know you need to head out, so maybe we can both ponder on the way to solve this problem, and maybe we'll come back to it next time.
Yes.
Now that you have the story, now we can kind of think about it and come up with a way to save the world next time.
Yes. I like it.
I'll also send you a video, and I'll put it on the show notes of some other stuff about Thomas Edison. I found a really good video on YouTube that's pretty unbiased. Like the Tesla video I show is all about Tesla, so it's very biased to his side. Most other documentaries are really biased to the Edison side. So I found one online that I felt really good about that's kind of pretty unbiased on what happened. So I'll put that on YouTube for people to watch. Or I'll put that on the show notes. I mean,
on the show
sorry.
notes. Yeah.
I made this super unbiased video, and I'll put it on YouTube.
I'm going to put it on YouTube because I have deemed the world worthy of this information at this time.
Maybe that's the real solution to the problem. Mass YouTube trending video about Thomas Edison.
Yes. Yes. I think that's a great solution. We just indoctrinate the whole world with our YouTube videos.
And then we replace the whole thing with Nicolas Cage's face using DeepMind.
Yeah. Psyche, you guys didn't get on soon enough. We'll have Rick Rollin playing in the background while it's just Nicolas Cage's face.
Yeah, that definitely will be helpful. I think that's a good plan. Maybe we'll come up with a better one next time, though. So we'll hold off till then.
Excellent.